Pour one out for old Neil. If you haven't watched the recent Lord of the Mysteries episode, get out of here. Okay? This is apparently some Weibo stuff. So you got Chinese social media, fan accounts, and basically old Neil's account post on Weibo. Is this even the way that you spell old Neil? That's crazy. Shoutouts to Sato Fuyuki, Climb Bottom Enjoyer, where they have translated or at least posted, old Neil's, basically like last words, and bro butchered his name. That is diabolical, bro. Anyways, let's read it and get some closure. August 1349 Tingen. Tingen's nights are much darker than they were decades ago, and my sleep is worse by the day. Lately, I've always missed her very much, Sally. Unconsciously for so many years, she showed no signs of fading in my memory. After all, she was not an old photo, she was my wife. She'd always loved music, so I learned to play the piano. Damn. Bro learned how to play the piano for his wife. Once upon a time, the air in Tingen was better than it is now, and on many evenings of months and months, I used to play to her some tunes I had practiced over and over again in private, and she would shake her head and hum softly to the melody. I would invite some members of the Night Watchman squad to listen to our ensemble together. In their spare time, and of course, I told Sally that they were my colleagues, and there were really nothing wrong with that statement. So like Nighthawk stuff doesn't want to like reveal the whole Beyonders, secret, right? Those days were my happiest times. Although I had become an extraordinary person at that time and had to hide many things from her, wandering and wandering on the edge of death, the generous salary of the Night Watchman, Nighthawks, could also save her from too much pressures of life. Shoutouts to the money, Let's go. Old Neil's salary is pretty high. Even if I was unfortunate, the huge pension was enough for her to live a good rest of her life. I expected our ending to be nothing more than two. One was that I died in battle, and the other was that I lost control and died. I never thought we would separate in this way. It was her who left first. She's sick? The illness came like a mountain, and it was almost overnight. She reassured me that she had been happy enough in her life, but I may be a little selfish. I am afraid to face life without her alone. To this end, I found many ways to raise money for medical treatment, and even used ritual magic and illegal confidentiality agreements, but still did not left her to get a real improvement. The day she left, I gazed for the last time at her face, which was no longer alive. Sally. Sally, I think, is supposed to be Celeste right now, right? Cheeks turned gray. Why did your body lose its warmth? After that, my world became a prison, filled with the dead silence of the needle. I held the bars in the prison and looked at her. Outside the prison, she watched me, calling me, expecting my response. For decades, I've wondered all the time. If I were stronger, if I had Sequence 7, or even just Sequence 8, would my ritual magic power be stronger? And this is kind of like how he kept saying, if only I met you 20 years earlier on. If only I was able to deduce the acting principle from Dali as well earlier on. Could things have been different? Would I be able to save her? If I had worked hard to save more money, would I be able to find a better doctor for her? For the first time, I complained that the world was too big and I was too small. This is such a realistic and sad thing where people will constantly blame themselves for the death of others, even though there's nothing realistically you could have done, right? And everyone wants to have closure by blaming themselves, and it's like a very human instinct, right? You see that shit in anime all the time where someone dies and they're always blaming themselves when there's really nothing you could have done, right? So in life, it's like, it's a really messed up thing where even though you can do everything right and you have good intentions, you can still get fucked over by life, and that's just the way it is. And the more that you try to obsess about it and hold on with grudges, the more it's going to prevent you from moving on, and it's just going to become so toxic. In recent months, her voice has become stronger and stronger, and she's repeating her thoughts to me over and over again. I have found a way. I will take you home soon, and then we will spend the rest of the time together. I think that this is more of old Neil becoming crazier and crazier and having evil murmuring and evil gods and, the hidden sage stuff, right? Tempt him. Because we saw those pair of eyes when Klein drank the seer potion. At the very least, that's the earliest that we know that old Neil's already been influenced by the hidden sage, because he's trying to resurrect his wife, and that's why he's such a penny pincher, and he's trying to save money for those ingredients. When you come back, I will introduce my teammates to you. Damn. When you come back, I will introduce my teammates to you. Klein. He's my new student. Is a smart and hardworking young man. He also set out on this road. Dunn has become more and more forgetful in recent months. I am very worried about his state. Leonard is still a little impetuous at ordinary times, but he is always very serious when he comes out on duty. Dally, she is very talented, has gone to Backland. I think she will have a bright future, not like me. So sad. Thank him for his gift. Hidden music, beautiful. What is missing in the magic maybe I can make up for myself. After all, do whatever you want, but do no harm. Sally, Sally, Sally. I'm coming to pick you up. The mystery prior stuff, man. And then here's some other like accounts. We got Dunn coming in saying, I'll see you, old friend. Damn, 423 likes. It's kind of fun to look at like the engagements of like how many likes like Dunn and other people get. We got Leonard. Honestly, this is kind of very ominous where it says, I'll see you, old friend. Because that sounds like Dunn is most likely going to die too, right? I think a lot of people are going to die in the Nighthawks and Tengen as we approach Tengen Doomsday, which will happen most likely in episode 13 of season 1. So this little, you know, Weibo post is very ominous. Leonard, bro has a crown, emoji crown on his name with the crown number 2. May you meet her again. Okay, Leonard, being respectful. We got Klein. Good night, Mr. Neil. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Dally, maybe you never really got out. May you be happy with her forever in another world. And that's so sad, man. This shit is actually so sad. And here's one more thing. I don't know who is the artist for this, but shout out to whoever did this. An amazing group picture of Nighthawk, man. Look at that. We have Dally and Dunn over here, I think. This is Celeste when she was alive, I think. Oh, this is official art? I think this is like Celeste if this is like a different reality, right? This is Neil. This is Klein and Leonard, obviously. We see Casey and, you know, the other members of like Fry and Kenley and all the other ones in the background scene. But this is what would have happened if she was healthy, man. And it's a tragic picture because like seeing this makes it even sadder, you know? Like a what if. But at the end of the day, right? I think that a show like this that delves in, because like the thing with old Neil is it's so sad that it happened to such an old lonely man who sacrificed everything to get his love back, right? And it's such a tragic ending, and how desperate he was to cling on to what was in the past. That's what really fucked me, man. When during the reaction, I was like holding on, but the moment that he started talking about the past, like, hey, Dunn, remember that time when I saved you? Hey, you know, Casey, remember the family stuff? Hey, Klein, remember that? It's like, oh my fucking god. And it's so sad when you have this like the sympathy card is being tugged and your heart is wrenching and you know what you need to do. And the way that Dunn was like shivering and was really depressed, but he couldn't show it and he had to do the job and he still did it. What an amazing captain he was. It's so sad, man. It's so beyond sad. And I think the lesson of this is, again, in life, you can do everything right and still get fucked. And that's why you need to learn to let things go. I'm not saying completely forget about people, because I think an important thing about life is a lot of people will have one bad experience, usually from love, they'll have a bad boyfriend or a girlfriend or some experience and they'll hide themselves forever. They'll say, I will never fall in love again because it's painful. But the thing about life is that these feelings are so important. Because you feel sadness, you can feel happiness too. And the more that you shy away from these real life experiences, the more that you are unable to get the most out of life and you're living the life of a coward. Sure, you can hide yourself and basically you're going to be living in somewhere around here in sort of emotional vulnerability. But because you feel the lows, you can also feel the highs. And I think that putting yourself out there and experiencing the most you can get is the way that most people should live their lives. Fully aware that, yeah, when I get into a relationship, when I get into a commitment, someone's gonna die. You're not gonna be there forever, right? It's an impossible goal to think that you're gonna live a happily ever after and die together and everything's gonna be fine. Most likely a partner's gonna die and you're gonna be alone. But that shouldn't deter you from seeking out those experiences. And I think there could have been an amazing situation where Neil could cherish his past with his wife, but also learn to move on and experience not just like the friendships he had with Havre of the past, but the new generation with Klein and Leonard and Dunn and so on, and move on with his life, right? But the more again that you cling on to things that were unfairly taken away from you, the more that you're going to stagnate and it's going to poison your mind and you're not going to be able to, you're a clock that stopped moving and it's only a matter of time. So just kind of like move forward and experience everything you got, fully aware that like you're gonna get burnt, it's gonna hurt, but that is the price of living. And you need to become mature enough to understand these themes so that you can get the most out of life rather than just hiding away and just wasting your life. Anyways, it doesn't need to be that deep. Amazing fan art. Please check out Mr. Klein Bottom Enjoyer. This is a crazy fucking name. What kind of name is Klein Bottom Enjoyer, bro? But here's a link to their tweet. Go check out their Twitter account for more stuff like this. And shout outs to the official fan art. And shout outs to Neil. Rest in peace.